All right, it's Thursday night, and we are live with the Tarot Tribe. Welcome in, everyone. It's so great to be here. So great to have you all back. So, for those of you who are new here, I'm Jojo. I am a psychic tarot reader and transformational guide. And what we do here every Thursday on my live is I offer some tarot readings for the group, as well as individual tarot readings. And tonight we also have kind of a special surprise. I'm going to unbox a new tarot deck that I picked up for my birthday a couple weeks ago. And if you aren't new here and you are returning, thank you all so much for coming back. And of course, you can always support this channel by liking, subscribing, and leaving comments on this video. So if you haven't gotten in a request for a tarot reading, please get that into the chat as early as possible, because we do fill up very quickly. It's been a great week. I hope you've all been well. We had a wonderful, wonderful week and some wonderful guidance last week. So it's good to see a lot of my regulars back here again, just looking up at the chat. And as always, my wonderful moderator and wife, Candy Hearts Art, is here to help manage and take your requests. So first and foremost, though, I'm going to show you, before I open it, we have a very special unboxing, The Bee Tarot by Christopher Hughes and art by Nadia Turner. And I picked this up at a wonderful local metaphysical shop on our birthday. And it's a deck that I wasn't honed in on it. Like, oh, I'm going to get this deck this year. I try not to go crazy buying tarot decks, because I really will if I'm not careful. And so I generally around birthday time is when I get a new deck. And this year I just went into the store. I started looking through some of the demo decks, and I really like this one. We are big fans of bees here in the household. We don't keep any bees, but we'd love to someday. And we follow a lot of beekeepers on YouTube, as well as some of the local ones. So I thought it would be a really nice deck, and we're going to look through that. Real quick, let's bless the deck, and we will get it open. So we're going to do that first, and then we will pull our group reading, our group message for the week from this. And then we will go on to all of your regular readings. And as you can see on the screen, I already have many of you in the queue, and we will keep adding on to that as we go along. So thanks again for showing up, and let's not wait one moment. Let's also make sure that I switch the camera so that we can see, here we go, what we're doing. This wonderful bee deck. And first and foremost, before I even open it, let's give it a blessing with some smoke. Also, and this is mostly a question to Candy Hearts Art, how do I sound tonight? I've got the AC going in the background, and I don't think the mic is picking it up much, but please let me know, especially if it sounds bad. We will correct that. We will cleanse this deck and this space for us. Okay. And I also picked up a little bit of this frankincense incense, which I do love. We're going to burn a couple of these tonight. I was raised Catholic, so the frankincense and the myrrh, even though I'm certainly not a practicing Catholic these days, or Christian really, in that sense, I do love the frankincense and myrrh. It's quite lovely. Used by many different traditions all over the world. So I've got that burning. Smoke it out in here. This lovely bee tarot. I hope it shows up nicely for you. And it is it is not even unwrapped. So this is no joke. And like I said, I flipped through the deck in the store. I hadn't heard anything about it, but it's a fairly new deck. We're just going to get our wrapper off carefully. We'll see what we got. It seemed to have a really nice guidebook in it, a nice little box. So let's unwrap it. So yes, the Bee Tarot by Christopher Hughes, and the art is by Nadia Turner. This is a Llewellyn publication. Copyright 2024. So I think it's a fairly new thing in the world. Let's see. Here's the wonderful back. And I'll read it for you. There's a old British adage, ancient British adage on the back as a quote. Ask the wild bee what the old druids knew. I love it. And it says, follow the keeper's journey into the magical world of bees. Through 78 cards buzzing with divinatory energy, best-selling author Christopher Hughes explores the symbolic relationship between bees and humankind. Discover the life cycle of bees, the archetypes of their world, and their mythological and cultural attributes. With Nadia Turner's exquisite art, a premium linen card finish, and Christopher's full-color guidebook, this Rider-Waite-Smith style kit beautifully marries bee traditions with tarot wisdom for a hardworking tool in sync with the rhythms of nature. And it does include a 296-page full-color guidebook along with the 78 card deck. So quite a great value, and I did pay $32.99 for this, US dollars. Ooh, this is pretty. I love this. I love this already. Did the bees understand the mystery of the druids, or did the bees perhaps give them access to those mysteries? Ooh, very fancy. We've got the little string in here to help us get everything out. There's the lovely cards. Here's the wonderful guidebook. Let's thumb through this. Into the Hive. Okay. Now, I don't know anything about Christopher Hughes or his writings, but I may have to explore that more now that I have this deck, especially if I like it. And we won't read every page. Apparently, Christopher Hughes is the chief of the Anglesey Druid Order. Ooh. A Mount Haemus scholar and a member of the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids. A teacher, writer, workshop leader, and guest speaker at pagan conferences, camps, and festivals throughout the United Kingdom, Europe, and North America, etc., etc. Well, how lovely. I'll have to read up more on this. Seems like he's more in the Celtic tradition. If any of you are well-versed in Celtic traditions, please chime in the chat if you know anything about him or any of this. And then the artist, Nadia Turner, creates wayward wonders in the magical Dandenong Ranges just outside of Melbourne. So she's Australian. Heavily influenced by ancient myth, fairy tales, witchcraft, and the world of the Fae. She's illustrated several children's books and the Mists of Avalon Oracle. So another pretty I've heard of that Oracle deck. Quite popular and pretty as well. So we have our table of contents. We have a little introduction. Some beautiful art in here. I'm assuming a lot of this is the art from the cards. Quite lovely. This is wonderful. This is a very meaty sort of book here. And I love to see this because so often we buy a deck of tarot cards. And clearly this is the Ace of Pentacles. We get that little pamphlet, you know, that little book that's probably written by AI or just poorly translated from some other language, and it doesn't tell us much. And it really doesn't have very good definition. So there's a whole wonderful introduction here. I'm not going to do story hour and read all this out loud, but it explains, gives us an introduction to sort of the wonder, talks a bit about early human interaction with bees, different parts of the world, about beekeeping. It really is mostly about the bees. And then beyond the hive, now we have a little piece about tarot. I'm guessing this is the priestess, probably the high priestess. We'll see when we get to the cards. And it is very much derived from the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, which, as you know, I really like a lot. This is interesting. It also draws the connection between tarot and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So Waite and Smith were both members of that. That was one of the great sort of magical organizations that Waite and Smith, along with Israel Regardie and Aleister Crowley, creator of the Thoth deck, were all part of this. So there is all of that. They really all helped bring all of that Western mysticism into tarot in a modern way. And so much of what we know of tarot today is from this and this time in 1909. So a little bit of tarot history, quite lovely. And then we got like a quick rundown, like a quick cheat sheet, if you will, of the major arcana, a little bit of the minor arcana. They're slightly different in this deck. So wands are wands, but cups from traditional tarot are jars. The swords are swords, and pentacles are pentacles. So they made the cups jars, obviously, for jars of honey. Then we've got a nice chapter on sort of how to read tarot. Just a little, I mean, certainly not as comprehensive as my transformative tarot for beginners class, which you can take online. I offer almost every week, and I'll mention that more later, but a nice little sort of, here's a little encouragement about how to go about tarot reading. I love it. Talks about the major arcana and then goes into all the meanings and shows all of the art. Lovely. So we will flip through the cards to see all of this. Looks like we have imagery of the book is amazing, though. You never get, you almost, not always, but you rarely get such a nice book. I mean, this alone, you know, and it's for a wonderful value. I mean, it's $32.99 US. I know people who sell a deck like this in a lovely box for, you know, almost $50, especially if they're independent published, because they don't have the big publishing house like Llewellyn behind them. Okay. And Candy informs me that we are rapidly filling up for reading. So we will get to those, and I will get the queue updated. But we may have to actually close out for the evening here for the readings, because this is going to take some time. But I do want to show you the lovely deck. So here's the book. Let's see. Is there any else fun stuff? Okay. So in the back, they do cover some spreads after going through all the meanings. They talk about a spread, and a spread is basically a layout of cards, and the positions of the cards add meaning and context to the meaning of the reading. You see here, I typically use for your readings a little 3-card spread. I also do a 10-card Celtic cross, not unlike this here. So clearly they've adapted the Celtic cross to sort of the bee thing. I love it. There's some other ones in here. I will explore all these and play with them as we go along. But you all want to see the cards, no doubt. So here are the lovely cards. This is a lovely box. Will probably not fit in my chest of tarot cards, but we'll figure it out. I love this. Okay. Let's put this back away safe. And here are our wonderful cards. Yeah. Now these I am not going to open with a knife. You know, when I got back into tarot reading like 5 years ago, I ordered a Rider-Waite deck, proper U.S. Games published one, not a knockoff. And they sent it to me, and a bunch of the cards were marked. And I don't mean like in a small way. They were like creased, even though the package was undamaged. And I was like, oh, man. And I sent them a picture. I got it through Amazon. And I swear, I thought, you know, I figured a bunch of the cards, it was like 6 or 8 cards, were pretty wrecked up. And I thought for certain they would just be like, oh, we'll send you a new deck. Send this one back if you want. No, they wanted me to take pictures of the individual cards and send the individual cards back to them, and they were just going to replace the individual cards. And I thought, you know what? This seems like a rigmarole. And I just kept it, and I read with it. And that deck served me very well and led me to a lot of important transformation and healing in my life at that time. So we are, according to my wonderful mod, we are at 16 readings in the queue. I don't have them all on the screen yet, but we are actually going to have to close out the readings for tonight. So we will switch to the closed status for this. Thank you all so much. I had a feeling we'd queue up like this just because we're taking some time with the deck unveiling. I did kill the list, so we are good with that. And let's go through the cards real quick. I won't probably go through every one, but it starts with the majors. Actually, let's do this. I can get you in a little closer. There we go. And I can even do this. Mess around with this a little bit. Make this bigger. There we go. Much better. Much better. That way, I think you can see these a little better this way. So we start with the major arcana, the trumps of the tarot. So the Fool, traditionally the Fool, this would be the Keeper. And this art is lovely, and the cards are, this deck is not creased up or wrecked up at all. I love it. It's a perfect size, big enough that you can see the art, but not so big that you can't shuffle it. I really like that. They are paper coated cardstock, so, you know, same quality as like some good playing cards like US Games might publish. Love Llewellyn products. They make some great stuff. So yeah, so here's the Keeper. So the Keeper is the Fool. I love it. And is clearly acting a fool, not wearing their headgear to keep the bees out of their face. But again, free, open, without a care in the world. I love it. And then we go on to the Magician. Again, the same, the Beekeeper. And I have a sense the Beekeeper is the central theme in, well, no, because we got, okay, so the Magician, the Melissae, which is the High Priest. This is the High Priestess. I can tell because we have the black and white columns here. Really nice. These are real pretty. The Empress. There's the Empress. The blue flowers. And oh, the art is lovely. The Emperor with all the bees in his beard. And then, the Delphic bee. That would be the Hierophant. I see. I get it. The Honeymoon being the Lovers. Yeah, that should be the Lovers, right? Yep. The Chariot, in this case, the Barrow or Wheelbarrow. Oh, this is fun. Strength is Strength. We have the Hermit. The Wheel is like this like segmented garden, quite lovely, with like 4 types of bees around it. I love this. Justice is a hand being stung. Oh, how wonderful. The Hanged One, the Hanged Man, hanging upside down, swarmed with bees. Death. So Death is kind of interesting. It's just a gravestone. It says 13 on it. And some bees flying around this wreath of flowers. Temperance. Quite lovely, quite appropriate. The Devil. It's just like this creepy kind of like corporate dude, like in his like suit, just throwing money at you, like, I will take all your bees. I will buy all your land. And that kind of thing. So no, View, I am not trying to market these cards. This is a deck that I purchased for my birthday. And so this is just an unboxing on a little bit of review. And we are going to read with these cards tonight. So you will all get your, almost all of you, or all of you will get your readings from this deck. But I just wanted to do a little unboxing. I've never really done any deck unboxings on my channel before. So I thought we'd give it a shot because people are interested. And despite my love of tarot and doing this professionally, I don't buy tons of decks. Mostly just because of financial reasons and space too. I would run out of room. So the Tower is like the bee hive being struck by lightning, much like the traditional tower. The Star. Ooh, yeah, these are wonderful. And the Moon, yep. Rebirth, so that would be Judgment in the traditional deck. And then the World, 21. 0 through 21 for the majors. Oh, I love it. And then we have the suited cards. So here are the wands. All these beautiful wands and bees in them. And they are very reminiscent of traditional Rider-Waite. You know, art. You know, they have that symbolism there. And so I like this a lot because it speaks to me and how I like to read. 7 of Wands. It's like the Menagerie and the 8 of Wands. Okay. Ooh, 9 of Wands. Ooh, like some defeat here. Like the hive got ruined or something or smoked out. That's wild. And 10 of Wands. Like this fertile bee. A new hive is created, I guess. This is going to make me go, oh, and then the court cards. Oh, these court cards are lovely. The Princess, the Prince, the Queen, and the King. So this would be like the Page and the Knight. That's an alternative for court cards you see in a lot of decks. Instead of the Page and Knight, we get the Princess and Prince, and then the Queen and King. And then we're on to the jars, and the jars are quite lovely. 3 of Jars here. 4 of jars. Yep. Yeah, and they all really hit on, to me, they really hit on the themes, the key themes that we find in almost every tarot deck. So these are quite lovely. And onto the swords. I love the swords. Yep, 3 of swords is just like traditional art with the heart with the swords through it. Ooh. Yeah, these are really pretty, and the cardstock is quality. So it's a good deck. Yep, the Knight of Swords, the classic, like up at night, ruminating, the Dark Night of the Soul. And then 10 of Swords, like the completion of a thing. Wow. And then our court cards, and then onto the Pentacles. Some wonderful bread and honey. The 2, the 3, yep. Okay. The 7. Yeah, and I really like, there is real art for everyone. So some tarot decks you find, a lot of times they will do like the major arcana that are usually have their own illustrations, and then sometimes some decks like the suited cards, the minors, will be really simple. They don't really have much art to them. It'll just be like the symbols, like this, like 7 wands, and it's just the wands, and there's not really any real art behind it. They're just like these symbols, like traditional playing cards, which is fun. But I don't know. I like having some serious art in all these things. And if I ever design a deck, I'm gonna make Candy draw or paint all 78 cards. So I hope she's ready. So thank you for showing up for that. I think what we'll do tonight, just because of time, and I want to get to all of your readings, is we'll probably just skip the collective reading, and we'll just go right to the readings, the individual readings. So just give me a moment here to get this queue all updated, because we got a ton of them. Anyone's Rowie? Okay, just bear with me. We will update our queue real quick. And then I will start all the individual readings, because I know ultimately that's really what you're all here for. And I appreciate it. And anyone who is new, or anyone, if you're new, please certainly subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, like this video, leave a comment. The routine. It helps us out so much. We do also accept donations, and there's a donation link in the chat. Scrolling through there, you can find that. It's also in the description of the video. So I see a lot of our regulars, a few people I don't recognize, but it might just be that I don't remember. But thank you all for showing up tonight. And very shortly, we'll get going with that. While I'm doing this, I will also remind you that while getting readings is a lot of fun and really insightful, and I enjoy reading for all of you always, there's no more powerful way to use tarot than to learn to read for yourself. And pulling a card for yourself every day is one of the most powerful and transformative practices I've ever taken up in my life, more than meditation or eating healthy or a lot of other things that I do to take care of myself. And you can learn to read tarot quite easily. I've studied it for decades, but really in just about 3 hours, you can learn a very simple and intuitive method. It's a lot of fun and easy to read. And you can be reading tarot confidently for yourself and for other people. And I teach that class on an ongoing basis, and the link for that is pinned here in the chat. So if you want to check that out, and it's only $18 for the 3-hour class. We do it live on Zoom. So you gather with a number of other people, and by the end of it, you're reading for each other and having a wonderful experience. So certainly give that some thought. I run it a couple times on the Sundays and Mondays, alternating each week. So, alrighty. So we've got the queue all updated, and there it is on the screen. Hello. We are running off the page. Well, we better get to work. So Michelle, you're up first. Oh, thank you, Candy. I was going to say, we did fill up the queue pretty quickly tonight. So again, please subscribe. We do this every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. That's Denver, U.S. time. And if you get in early, we'll make sure we get you in for your reading. So I apologize for that, but certainly stick around. Oh, lovely India. Thank you. Yeah, check out the pinned link there in the pinned comment. It's also in the description for the video. Oh yeah, these are nice. They're not too stiff. They're just right. You know, they bend somewhat easily, but they're not flimsy. I can riffle shuffle these really nice, more easily than the Crow deck actually. Oh yeah, I love this. And if you do, all right, Helix. Well, thank you for showing up. Good luck on the farm tomorrow, and yeah, we'll catch you for reading next week. So thank you for showing up tonight. So the list should be on your screen. Kind of ran off, so let me read it down. So Sky Brights, you are on the list, so I'll read it off. I realize it's kind of running off the end of the page here a bit, but off the screen. I apologize for that. I can't really do anything to fix that right now without making it worse, but I'll read it off. So it begins with Michelle. We have India Welch, Brandon 3T, we have Rowie, we have Nanook Badger, Cool Libra, Issy 411, followed by Speak Knowledge, Melons Maloney, Sky Brights, that's you, Brahman, Ruby Camellia, Charger Fan 870, Merlib, Phoenix Oracle Healing, and the final reading for the night will be Leet. So that is everyone who made it in. It's okay, Sky. There's a lot going on here. I get confused sometimes, so totally okay. But just to read it off, because it is a little hard to read. So, Michelle, could I please have a reading from my guides about my spiritual journey? Okay. So give me just a moment. I want to get a good shuffle so we don't just pull like the 2, 3, and 4 of Pentacles, for example, or something like that. So let's get a good shuffle in here. These are lovely cards. I would definitely so far recommend this deck. It's a nice quality. It's not insanely priced. Oh, let's do this too. We're in a little close for the card cam, so let's get this back to normal here. Come out a little bit. There we go. Much better. Okay, that's a little more proper for what we're doing. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Oh, welcome in, Natasha. Natasha is one of my my students, and a great supporter of mine as well. Thank you for the review, Natasha. Oh, we boxed the cards. Oh, well, I was not paying attention while shuffling. It's a good thing I'm not a professional dealer at a casino. I'd get fired. I almost was, actually, but that was a long time ago. So for most of my 20s, I was aspiring to be a professional poker player and Texas Hold'em player like those guys on TV and on the internet. And spent a lot of time in casinos and in people's homes and in bars gambling. And I was actually pretty good at it, but it's not really a great life. And I did get a little carried away with it at times, so I had to give it up. Now I read tarot cards for all of you. How amazing. Okay. All right, Michelle, without any further delay, what are your guides trying to tell you today about your spiritual journey? Oh man, I'm so excited. The new cards. Okay, 9 of Swords. All righty. I'll bring you in a little bit more. It's a little bigger. There, that's a little better. These are not the what. They're like perfect size. So we have nine of Swords. the Prince of Pentacles. Ooh, it's just like this one B. And the Queen of Swords. Well, this is quite lovely. So your guides have a lot to say. So, Michelle, and there is a lot of the air spirit here. So swords are the suit of air, the element of air. And so the guides that are coming through, and I don't really have names or anything, but they are sort of elementally based, and they are very much these sort of air spirits. And that's the sense that I get through the majority of swords in the spread. And so what they're saying is, they're looking at your past, and you have a past where you have been at times sort of plagued by this dark night of the soul. You've gone through some times of sort of darkness and of sort of mental anguish and uncertainty. And you are coming out of that now. And so with that, there is kind of two phases to it. So the first piece of this is actually more of a renewal of your physical self. As you are emerging from this, you're going to be, this might just be starting to creep in now, but you are sort of maybe experiencing some physical changes in your body, or in kind of how you feel in your body. So maybe occasionally you're getting like these things like perhaps ringing of the ears, or you hear some like buzzing or ringing once in a while, just sort of out of the blue for no reason. Just sort of interesting, like maybe you get some weird chills once in a while, things like that. They're little things showing up in your body. I don't want you to get real concerned about like like there's I'm not predicting like that you have some great illness or something like that, or condition, but there's just these weird little sensations and changes that are sort of popping up in your body as of late. And if they haven't shown up, they will be very soon. That's kind of where you're moving into in your journey, because as you're sort of clearing out of some of this mental anguish of your past, the body has to sort of change and release that. The body holds this stuff too. It isn't just your thoughts. It's every part of you, especially when we're talking about like trauma and that sort of mental or emotional anguish. And so there's going to be some of that creeping in. And some of it might also, it might be a little strange. You'll have these strange sensations, but they're also going to give way to maybe some better feelings. So you might also, as that continues, you may have some things show up where like suddenly like maybe you have a recurring ache or pain that goes away. And they're like, wow, my elbows never felt this good before, or something like that. Those are going to be the most immediate things that are sort of coming out of this. And then with that, a greater mental clarity and a greater call will come to you. And this is the Queen of Swords. So this is the sort of what you're heading into in your future and what the outcome of this is. And it isn't just like these little sensations in your body. It's all the underpinnings of like a greater sense of leadership in your own life, sense of authority over yourself, and also other people looking more to you for your leadership and guidance, and feeling like you have a better ability to express yourself and to influence others in very kind and compassionate ways. Again, it is the queen energy. So it is this nurturing energy. And I sense for you that that is going to be your next step in your spiritual journey. And with that will come, that isn't just going to be a spiritual transformation, like just in terms of like your soul or your energy body. With that, it's going to show up in your life. And I sense that going down the road, farther in the future, you're going to be pulled into some work or other, some other endeavors in your life that are more of a leadership thing where you're guiding and helping others. and helping them to realize their higher selves and move through their own spiritual journey. So that's where your guides are sort of leading you. And that's a really beautiful thing. So just be on the lookout for those little signs, like I said, those little sensations or deja vu. It might be a little alarming, but don't worry too much about them. Yeah, and that happens a lot when we go through phases of spiritual awakening. So it makes a lot of sense. So thank you, Michelle. And cracking right along, we will try to keep this list up to date. Cracking right along. India Welch is up next. You added your question, and that's fine. I had it as a general, but I got you right here in the chat. India Welch asks, will John propose a relationship or commitment when he returns from his family trip? Ooh, a love question. The first love question of the night. Well, thank you for that. I feel like I got to figure out like some kind of bingo game or something we can play. So it's like, like what's the first love question? What's the first career question, et cetera, et cetera. That kind of thing. I think that would be a lot of fun. Oh, you're welcome, Michelle. So, yeah, what is up with will John want a relationship? Okay, Natasha, thank you. I always forget that that's your other username. So, thank you for reminding me because I will get mixed up. Okay. Yep, I am really in love with this deck. I bought it at a local shop. I'm pretty sure you can find it on Amazon. Probably other local booksellers as well. And please, if possible, please support local business. But no shame if you're in a rural place or somewhere you can't find one or any other tarot deck, then there's no shame in using Amazon. It's just the way the world is now. So, okay. I think we got a good shuffle. Cards are well broken in. Okay, India. So, will John want a relationship when you get back? Well, there's the world. Very lovely. There is death. Very interesting. And the Five of Swords. Well. Very, very interesting. So John's coming back from this family trip. And I sense that there's going to be something about this trip or something that happened on this trip is going to create some very, it's going to be the catalyst of some kind of change or transformation in John. So something happened. And that's the universe sort of doing its thing, pushing John in a way to evolve and change a bit. So we have the world card. That's the force of the universe acting through him. And then we have the death card. So that's like the end of something. And, that's sort of the end of his old self. I sense that John will want a relationship. He may propose a relationship, but I would be wary because I get the sense, and then the Five of Swords too. Like this is like the breaking down of like the hive. Like this bird is like pecking the hive and like breaking the stuff down. So there's quite a bit of like change and chaos going on here with John. And so he may, I sense that he's going to want a relationship, but I would approach it carefully. I wouldn't just commit too quickly, especially if he's like, really wants to be like, this is super serious. Because I think you're going to realize once he's back and you spend a little time with him that he has changed a bit. I can't say that it's for the better or the worse with just 3 cards. So I think you got to feel him out a little bit, kind of get a sense of like what's different, and then approach from there. So, because if he wants to be committed to you and he tells you this, obviously you're going to be excited about it. I sense that it's something you want if you're asking about it. So you may just be like, oh, yes, like right off the bat. Even if you do, again, like just, try to feel him out a bit because I sense that he's going through some changes. So, you're going to spend a little time with him and be like, oh man, like he's acting a little different or a little strange. He's not exactly the way, he was before he left. So there's definitely something going on there with him. But I think he will ask or want to get into a relationship. So just proceed with caution, India. And I hope that makes some sense for you. So thank you for your request this evening. And moving right along, we're on to Brandon 3T. What messages are my guides sending me with all the repeating numbers I've been seeing? Oh, lovely. Synchronous numbers. Always, again, a very... you're welcome, India. Always, when you see those synchronous numbers, it's always some kind of sign. From spirit, from your guides, from the universe, whatever you like to call it. So let's see. Shaking the whole desk as we deal. Okay. So we have the Delphic Bee, the Hierophant. The Six of Swords. And the Two of Swords. Okay. So I'm going to take a guess, Brandon, that some of the numbers showing up for you are going to be 3 or groupings of 3s, like 333, 2s. And those are both key numbers in the 6 and the 5, right? So 2 plus 3 is 5. And you're probably seeing 6 and 5 as well. But really the 2 and the 3 are super big here because you have the 6 of Swords, the 5, and then the 2. So you're probably seeing all 4 of those numbers show up pretty frequently. Welcome in, Derek. Okay, and then we're moving more into the 1s and 0s. Welcome in, Elijah, as well. Unfortunately, we have filled up the list for the evening. So I cannot take any more new readings for tonight. Whoever's on the screen right now is who's going to get readings tonight. But please come back. We're here every Thursday. And Derek, I apologize as well if you're trying to get a reading tonight. You can also always reach out to me personally. I have links in the description for the video on how to contact me for a reading, schedule readings. And you can always come back next Thursday. And Derek, it's good to see you as well. I hope you're well. So Brandon, you're getting the 1s and 0s too. Okay, so that is just like a further reduction to 2s and 3s. So to kind of get more to your question, like what's really going on? What's this really about? For a while, Brandon, I think you've been, sensing, you've been feeling spirit trying to move through you and flow through you to not just guide, but really be the force behind your actions. There's been this calling in your past, in your recent past, to create your world and your future from a more spiritually oriented place. Great, Derek. Thank you. And then 6 of Swords is you're moving into an expansion of your reach and your influence in the world. So you're really starting to speak from that spiritual place to the people around you and actually like spread some of that influence. And that's kind of what you're stepping into right now. And you are bringing your ideas and your thoughts and your sort of spiritual authority to new shores, to more distant places, different people who you've maybe not expressed these ideas to in the past, even if they're people you already know. And the outcome of this, the future of this is for the next while, maybe the next year even, is you're expanding this spiritual side of you and sort of how that's showing up in the world. But you still have some kind of mundane things. And I shouldn't say mundane because they're not like, tarot reading or meditation or something, or like doing healing work for yourself or with others, but more just sort of everyday, sort of quote unquote ordinary kind of stuff. And so for the next while, you're going to kind of feel like you're living in these two worlds. And that's what Two of Swords is. And the Two of Swords is here to tell you that it's vital that you continue to do so for the next while. It can be very tempting to sort of escape into spirituality. Yeah, you do have to chop wood and carry water still, and just escape into that world. But that is still only part of our existence, just like the physical material world is only a part of our existence. And we have to give space for all of these things. So don't lose sight of that as you get pulled into, again, expanding your reach and influence and your words for people. And that is Spirit's guidance for you, Brandon, from your guides. On to Rowie next, or Rowie. Not sure. I'm terrible at pronouncing everything. Well, at least names, so. Oh, and thank you again for showing up. And anyone who did not get on the list, if you're still here, you're welcome, Brandon. Again, subscribe and ring the bell, click the bell icon. That way you don't ever miss one of our lives. We do go off Thursday night, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, which is Denver, United States. Okay, and Rowie has asked for a general reading. So if you're from like the East Coast or you're from Boston, like my wife, you'd be Rowie. I'm not quite from Boston, but I am from New England, so I can fake it a little bit. Hey, Rowie, what's going on with your spirit guides? Okay, enough. This is serious stuff here. We're reading tarot. Okay. So, 5 of Jars. That's a fun one. We love 5 of Jars. 3 of Pentacles. Ooh. And 2 of Pentacles. Oh, lovely. I like the 2 of Pentacles in this deck because, it conveys the idea of juggling. Like, even in the traditional art, they're juggling. But I just kind of like the way they're up in the air more, the way it looks in this one more than the traditional art. So, okay. So we have some past. So you're coming out of like a little bit of a sense of like discontentment. There's you're feeling like you've been feeling like your jars are empty leading up to the most recent time, like to the present, and kind of wondering what to do. And like always with the 5 of Jars here, some of your jars are full and you maybe lost sight of that a little bit. It happens. It's okay. There's no shame in that. That's just human nature. But that's kind of what you've been struggling with in your past, and it's what led you here today. And so here we see a call in the present to engage with some mentorship and learning from others, some collaboration with others. It's a powerful bit of the 3 of Pentacles. And so Pentacles are these riches, but in this case, it's more the riches of like the people around you. There are people around you who have some wisdom and knowledge that they can share with you, maybe even some skills. Maybe you should go and take a candle making class. That's what the card would suggest if we take it literally here. This guy's literally dipping beeswax candles and showing where this lady probably doesn't really matter gender, but this person is sort of doing this. The others are like, oh, this is how you do it kind of thing. So definitely a call to collaborate and gather some people in your life if you don't have them already, who are wise and can give you some insight as to where you're going. And don't worship them. You don't want to get too wrapped up in like just following people um, like they were the second coming, but just take in their knowledge and learn some things because they are in your life and they want to help you. And then the future, the emergent piece of this, and what this will lead you to is the beginning of some new prosperity in your life, the beginning of a new endeavor, maybe a new business or side hustle or something like that. Something that is related to what this knowledge is that you've picked up, and that's going to bring some of that contentment back to your life that you've been not having. It's going to fill those jars that are empty and broken. So there is like a new endeavor for you. It might even be something more like a hobby than it is like a career or job. So that's where you're being led. Like maybe take a new class or something, learn a new craft. It certainly feels that way with his cards here today. So that's what you're being called to. Thank you for your question tonight. So Candy laughs and gets a chuckle out of my fake Boston accent because I did not grow up with one. In the middle of Massachusetts, where I grew up, really the western part. So to anyone from that area, from Boston, my fake accent is obviously fake. To people here in Colorado who grew up out here, they have no idea. They think I'm from, if I whip that out, they think I grew up in New York or Boston or Jersey or something. And so I can get away with it sometimes. But moving on, we have Natasha and Nanook. Please, is the work on myself that I'm doing enough? Okay. You're welcome, Rowie. You are welcome. Now let's update this. We are cracking along tonight. How many have we done? 5. Okay. All right. Okay, is the work on myself? All right, let's find out. How is your progress in all of your self-work? The Barrow. Okay. The Princess of Swords. Ooh, I love it. I really like the Princess instead of the Knight, honestly. Maybe the Princess is more of like the page and the Prince is more like the Knight. That might make more sense given sort of the connotations of it. I could look in the wonderful book real quick. I want to check the book. That's why they wrote all this in here for us. Just so I have some sense of, I don't get too hung up on like the correct meanings of things, but I just like to know. So yeah, the princess is more like the page. They kind of are more like split along the lines of like divine feminine and masculine, just in the young sort of energy. So princess is more receptive and willing and open and enthusiastic, fitting that more divine feminine energy. And then the prince, a bit more like the knight, active and compulsive, risky or ambitious. Okay. So I got that right. Okay, Natasha. So you've got the Barrow. So you have a lot of momentum, and a lot of the things that you have done in the past to work on yourself are working, and the results are showing up, and they're starting to show up. There is a lag always in sort of the work we do when we're doing personal development work, when we're trying to progress spiritually in some way, there's always a gap between that work and the results of it showing up. Now, yes, you do some work, like you do some meditation. I just use that as an example. You may feel good while you're meditating, but the real benefits of that work take time to manifest. Sometimes they show up in ways that we're not really aware of either, and only when we look back we go, "Oh, wow, that really helped." So the short answer is yes, Natasha. You are doing enough work, and the work that you're doing is very good. And so please don't get discouraged. The thing is all of this spiritual enlightenment, all of this personal development, call it whatever you like, is not about creating a life where you are just perpetually like on cloud nine, where you're like perpetually in like a peak moment, where everything is just constant like excitement and joy. There's a deeper, more profound peace and bliss that comes with this. And it doesn't always mean being super happy and giggly all the time, but it also doesn't mean being depressed and anxious and sad all the time either. It's really about this place of peace where you experience all of these things and you're able to honor them, both the sad, anxious, angry feelings, those sort of negative feelings, and the more positive feelings, the joy and contentment that we find in life. Um, Spiritual progress, this sort of development is really about getting to a place where these things are flowing through you. And so you're experiencing them and living them and honoring them all. And yet, the downturns, the lows are not destroying you. They're not bringing you to these depths of despair. And also the highs are not so high that you are um, sort of out of your head, or sort of manic, if you will, to use a more psychological term. But you have some stability, and also not to be perfectly flat and in the middle. Also, you are experiencing these things. And so if you think about it more that way, I think there's a great sense in your life that you are doing really well. You're doing wonderfully. And I mean, I can see it just in your daily readings, since you've taken the class and you've been showing up in the group and stuff. And so to give you a little more insight as we're moving into the present and future, the Princess of Swords here is, again, like that page energy. So it's a renewal of the mind. It's a renewal of sort of that youthful thinking. And so if you are sitting there really worrying, like, am I doing enough? When you notice those thoughts of like, it's not enough or I'm not getting there, creep in. And we all have them. Um, I have these things every day, as you know. But my ability to sort of look at them and honor them, be like, okay, friend, this is where we're at. Okay, brain, this is what's going on, but we're not going to slide into despair today. You start to learn to sort of audit these things. So, Princess of Swords, right now, in the next day or week or so, you're going to sort of be moving more into that lighter energy. When you notice those more doubtful feelings, you can sit there and sort of audit that and be like, maybe take a moment and be like, okay, what are some signs of all the things going right in my life? What are the signs of my progress? Because they are there. And Five of Swords is the progression of this as you begin to release some more of this. And, in a sense, and I'm not saying you should give up your practices, but, sometimes we get into a place of like trying a little too hard. Like we're trying to force things a little bit too much. So you want to take that space. Um, you know, and if you're really struggling and really worrying, like I'm not making progress, it's okay to take a break. It is totally okay to take your day or two off and not read any tarot cards or not do meditation or whatever it is, and do something more just sort of quote ordinary and mundane. Sometimes that's what you need. That is part of integrating the spiritual path. and this progress into your everyday life, because that's really what it's about. And so the Five of Swords just speaks to a future of, like, as you do more of that, you will continue to break down more of these barriers and limiting beliefs in your life and things that are making you feel like you're held back. So you're doing wonderfully, and please, like, don't lose sight of that. And as you know, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. I mean, we chat a lot, Natasha. So um, if you're ever struggling with that, please just drop me a message. You can DM me on the WhatsApp or whatever. You can even do it personally. You want to put it in the group chat. But you're doing great. So give yourself a pat on the back, really, and thank you for that. Okay, and that brings us to Cool Libra. Ooh, a car question. All right, I love car questions. They're so much fun. How long will it take for me to get a new vehicle? Okay, I love it. I love it. I'm trying to remember, Cool Libra. Did we, a few weeks back, was it like when we were trying to figure out what the car was going to be? And it was like the station wagon or the sports car. Maybe that was someone else. I think a few people have asked car questions lately. So if not, I apologize. But I do love some car questions. So. Thank you, Derek. Thanks for the hugs. Hugs back. It's good to see you. We'll have to have a chat or a coffee soon. I've been so busy lately, but we will catch up. For those of you who don't know, Derek is another local quantum hypnotist and healer. Also a Reiki certified Reiki practitioner. He does a lot of beautiful work with people here in the Colorado area and through the internet. So you can check out his channel. He has a lot of great stuff as well. So I highly encourage that. A wonderful soul. Indeed. So, all right, Cool Libra. Let's find out what's going on with this vehicle. Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Well, it will happen, but when? When? The Ten of Pentacles. The Nine of Wands. Oh, and there's that Princess of Swords again. Okay. So, okay. So my answer to this is, and yes, Derek's actual official channel. Thanks, Candy. Because Derek Ivy's his personal account. So, yeah, if you want to check out his content, Candy posted that for us. Sorry, Cool Libra. So, here's what's going on with the hoopty. It's not going to take forever. You know, you will get it when you need it. Certainly. I mean, I know you probably need it now, you know, if you're already wondering about it. But you will get it before, like, you know, you're completely like screwed without a car. But it's probably going to take a little longer than you want. I don't think it'll be forever. It's really hard to pin this down in terms of like an exact time frame. But here's the thing, and this is a lot of the Nine of Wands here. Is like there's just like this burned out smoking thing going on in this picture. It's like clapped out, used up hive, and it's sort of like this defeat. So the reason I say it's going to take a while is because you need to take some time with this purchase. Don't be too hasty in selecting a new vehicle, because there's a risk here that you're going to end up with some clapped out hoopty that doesn't run. You know, you're going to end up buying a lemon because if you act too hastily. So, and even if you're looking at new cars, follow your instinct, you know. And if you're looking at used cars, find a reliable mechanic that you can take it to for an inspection before you buy it, or a mobile mechanic who can show up with you to look it over. So it's going to take some time. You're going to need to do some due diligence and get all your ducks in a row. But if you're patient and you are selective and choosy and picky about what you buy, you're going to end up with something you really love. So here's that Princess of Swords again. So try to pick something. This tells me that the right car for you is something that it may be a practical choice, but there is some element of like fun. Like it feels like a fun vehicle to drive. So maybe I think we talked about like that crossover, so it's kind of sporty, but it has some practicality to it. But yeah, really scrutinize your choices. And, I know patience is tricky. I'm not a patient person, so I feel you, especially when it comes to like big purchases. I want the new thing. I was an only child, and so I'm a bit of a spoiled brat, and I have a hard time waiting for things. But that haste has cost me some money in my life where I've made bad decisions about purchases. So yeah, just really sit with yourself, really listen to your instincts and your intuition on this one. Um, yeah, get yourself a sporty crossover, maybe with a turbo in it, like a turbocharged Subaru, maybe. Ooh, that sounds fun. We have a lot of those out here in Colorado. So, actually, you know what? Maybe don't get the turbo because that might be what's smoking right here. Turbos do tend to fail, and they can blow up your engine. So maybe stay away from the turbo car, but something that is kind of sporty and fun. So only a little spoiled. Well, thank you, my wonderful wife. Just a little spoiled. So, but it won't be forever. It will happen. Just try not to leave too soon. So, thank you for the question tonight, Cool Libra. Thank you, all the rest of you, for showing up and waiting out this really long list. I hope you all kind of got a kick out of the deck unboxing. And those are kind of fun to do. I won't do tons of them. I can't afford that many tarot decks. If you do want to see more of those, you can certainly help me afford more tarot decks by sending a donation, and the link for donations is in the description for the video, and certainly is also getting posted in the chat here and there. Or you can take my tarot class as well. The proceeds from that would certainly help to buy tarot decks for reviews. But we will still do them. And I'm going to clip those too and put them on the channel just as their own videos. So next up, we have Issy 411. We're getting just past 9 o'clock. And after Issy's reading, we will go right to, I'm going to take a break and give my voice a rest. Because, yeah, that's about half the list. So now we're going to, well, it's about 10. So, yep. But we will go to break, and then we will do the rest. Woo! Oh, these shuffle so nice. They really do. Well, here's some flyouts. Our first flyouts for this deck. There's your reading right there. Okay. We got it. Ooh, big cards. Insight on personal journey to highest self. Well, perfect cards for this. So they really speak to that. Major cards, so some huge transformations. So you've actually just come out of a pretty powerful phase and transformation. So this is kind of the recent past, I'd say. And you're just stepping out of this. You've been going through some major transformation. You have been transforming things in your life, old beliefs and things that certainly did serve you well at one point in the past, given where you were then. They served you well, but they eventually are no longer serving you. And so in order to move forward, you need to transform those into the next thing. And you've kind of gone through a phase of that recently. So you're coming out of that right now. And sometimes, coming the backside of these transformations don't always feel just like this amazing opening up. Sometimes they feel a little weird. And you're kind of like, oh, man, like I definitely know something happened. But what really happened and like what's the result? And so I think that's what Princess of Wands here is talking about to you. It's a little bit of speaking to the present and what's really meant to come out of this. The transformation of the recent past is a very deeply emotional one. Again, it's a very psychological one. And so the wands here are more about like doing. And so I think this is about you integrating this now. So pulling some of that transformation more into the everyday things in your life. So bringing that new outlook to again, things that are more mundane, that don't seem like very spiritual things, just like how you go about your life, how you take care of your household where you live, how you go about your job, the attitude that you bring to your career and job, and maybe exploring some new changes in that. You know, um, maybe finding a new job or thinking about what the next steps in your career might be, to help open that up. Maybe find a place where it is a little easier for you energetically to be more in that transformed place. If your workplace or career is kind of a more toxic place, or just kind of an energy drain on you, maybe it's time to start looking for a bigger thing, for a place with a better atmosphere, even if it's not a massive change of career. And the future of this is that by doing so, you're going to lean into your next bit of your journey, your next transformation. And that piece of it in the future is going to be one of addressing some karma. So, addressing some things you've carried from past lives. And the things that you've been through in the past are certainly part of that too. Everything's related in your life. But this is going to be a more purposeful addressing and understanding of your karma, things you've carried over from past lives that you need to clear out. So that's a really that can be a very exciting phase of spiritual journey to be in, on reaching your highest self. And I think it would be fun to explore some of your past lives if you haven't before. That is a service that I do offer. I do offer past life readings with tarot cards. So we use the tarot reading with a special spread to explore your past lives and how they're affecting you in your current one. So if you ever want to explore that, certainly reach out to me, Issy. You can use the links in the description for the video to book a reading. And we can do that. They're a lot of fun and very insightful. So thank you for showing up for your reading, for your question. And we are going to go to break. We're going to take 10 minutes, rest my voice, get a little stretch in, and we'll be back. So just hang on, everyone, and then we will get to everyone left on the screen. So yeah, take 5, take 10, get a beverage and get settled in. Thank you. Unmute the mic. Okay, we're getting back. We are back. Give everyone a moment to get in here. And coming up next, we have Speak Knowledge, asking for a general meeting. Welcome in, Kitchen Witch. Okay. So Speak Knowledge wants a general reading. Whew. Hope everyone had a nice break. I got some fresh water. Okay. All right, you're still here. Good. Okay, Speak Knowledge. Here's your reading without further delay. Okay, the Princess of Swords. She just keeps showing up tonight. I swear I shuffled. You saw it. Two of Jars. Okay. I mean, it's just a strong theme. This, like, again, this youthful, renewal of the mind. This youthful thing. Ooh, and strength tonight. Love it. Speak Knowledge. So you have been kind of in this sort of youthful place of your mind. So there is a certain, like, again, that youthful energy and some youthful thoughts. In your case, this is more about the maturity of these things and maybe the maturity of your influence and how you communicate with people too. That's a lot of it here, I think, for you. So that is the past. You're sort of moving out of that and moving into a more mature thing. And part of that maturation is going to show up. I think there's a relationship here. I can't necessarily say that it's the nature of the relationship. It may not be a romantic one, but a friendship or some kind of relationship here in your life. It might be one that already exists, or might be one that's going to happen soon. But it is going to be the catalyst for sort of that maturity. It's going to kind of force you to be a little more mature in how you think about things and express yourself. And that's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean you can't have joy and sort of that innocence in your life, but something's going to bring that out of you. This relationship. Again, it might be more like a friendship or even a family relationship. I can't really say very strongly that it's romantic, but Two of Jars can often be romantic relationships. It's really hard to say, but it's there. There's another person that's going to, again, bring this about. And that's going to bring you into this new step in your journey, this new evolution for you. The card of strength. So this is, again, that idea of like strength through nurturing and compassion. And so that very more youthful energy is going to become more mature, but still be, again, like tender and gentle and kind and caring. So yeah, I think that some person in your life is going to bring out a greater degree of those qualities in you. But again, and it's not to say that you aren't kind and compassionate and caring, but it's like a whole new level of that. And so that's a lot of what you're looking forward to in the near future, and kind of where your life is headed right now. So keep us up to date and let us know how that pans out and whether I'm right or not. I know you will. You're here every week. So thank you, Speak Knowledge, for your reading tonight. Moving on, we have Melons Maloney. And Melons Maloney asks, will I get a promotion at my new job at NAS? or maybe it's just NAS. It's a work from home job. Okay. All right. So what's going on with your work from home job? Okay, Melons. I'll be just shocked if that Princess of Swords shows up again. Every single reading is so rigged. Okay. Rebirth. Okay. Cool. Cool. Oh, Eight of Swords. All right. Eight of Swords is always an interesting one. And King of Swords. There's so many different ways to read it. Well, again, big transformations here. So, you've gone through this sort of rebirth, this transformation. A lot of us are stepping out of these phases, these current phases of big transformations from earlier in the year. So we're seeing that a lot. The first card here we're pulling for people a lot of times. So that's true for you as well, Melons. And for you, I think I sense that this promotion will happen. It's probably going to be a while. And so the Eight of Swords is telling me that some time is going to pass. And you're going to get to a place where it might be so much time that you kind of feel like it's not going to happen. Maybe some circumstances at work arise where you're like, oh, they're not going to promote me, or you have some awkward encounter with one of your bosses or something. And so you're going to go through a phase of like, it's not happening. We're feeling like it's not happening. So there's going to be some ups and downs there, but eventually I think it will come to you. The King of Swords is very powerful here. That is a role of greater leadership, advancement, power, the ability to set logic and order to the world and to communicate in a very orderly fashion. So that promotion is coming, but it's going to be a while. And like I said, it's going to feel up and down, leading into that. So just ride it out, go with the flow. Don't get too hung up on it. And when that sort of that feeling of ick creeps in, just let that go. Take a step back, and you'll get there. It'll happen. So thank you for your request tonight. Always great to see you, Melons Maloney. Moving on, we've got Sky Brights. What does Spirit have to say to me regarding my finances for the rest of the month? What would be helpful to know? Okay. Well, it wouldn't be a Thursday night tarot tribe without some career and financial readings. Absolutely. Yep, you're up, Sky Brights, and thanks for waiting around. Okay, Sky Brights. Ooh, the Devil. I love the Devil in this. He's just like this creepy looking dude in a suit. Like he's not, horns and the whole beast. It's kind of like the Devil were on Earth incarnate. That's how he would appear. But don't worry. I know the Devil's kind of a scary card, but do not worry. The Devil, the Hermit, and the Two of Swords. So here we go. So your financial evolution here, you've come out of a place in the past where I think maybe you were someone who maybe was not so careful um, with spending and how you manage your finances, and that's what the devil's telling me here. This is more of a thing of the past that you've overcome in a big way. So like, um, so yeah, um, in the past maybe you have just been way too like obsessed with just like spending too much on probably on things that were not as necessary to your life as you thought they were at the time, and that kind of thing, and just sort of buying stuff that can maybe make yourself feel better, that sort of shopaholic type thing. um Also maybe being too, in some ways maybe being too generous, and being too willing to um, lend money to other people, and people who really weren't going to pay you back, or going to take advantage of you in some way. So I sense that there's some of that sort of in the finances of your past, but you have moved past that. And so that's what the hermit is telling me, is like you've moved out of that. You've made some great progress in that. And maybe right today, right now, maybe it doesn't feel that way. But you are actually a lot wiser about what you do with your money and how you manage it. And the hermit is again about sort of, this is the hermit is a card of like emotional detachment. So here you are moving into a place of like not okay. So all right, so it was more about just like feeling of lack. Okay, I get it. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense too. So here the devil is more like, when we come from that place of lack, we kind of start to just hate money as a thing. So maybe that's more of it, of like there's more of a resentment, maybe some feelings of like your worthiness, your value as a human being, um, is not strong because you were in a place of lack. But regardless of exactly what that sort of past thing is, you are moving out of it. And so the hermit is, again, this card of like detachment from these things. Um, Sort of that emotional detachment from whatever it was that you were struggling with. So you're moving more into a place of like being able to see it for what it is. Um, and in your case, maybe allowing yourself to actually spend a little more, to kind of take on an attitude of wealth to some extent, without getting carried away or being really like bad about it. But maybe allowing yourself to purchase or acquire some things that you would actually enrich your life, but you're putting off and telling yourself, I don't really need that. A little bit of comfort in your life is necessary. So this is kind of a rebalancing of that and sort of the shedding of that feeling of restriction, regardless of how much money you do actually have in your bank account or what your actual finances are. Um, there is an abundance in all of our lives. I mean, unless we've truly like starved to death, and clearly you haven't because you're here. We do have prosperity and abundance in our lives, even if it doesn't seem like it. And so, Two of Swords is the future of that, of like being able to sort of hold both those truths of like, maybe I don't have as much, my bank account isn't where I want it to be necessarily, or what would feel the most secure. And yet I do have quite a bit of abundance. I do have resources, and I am able to, and it is okay maybe to, again, spend on yourself a little bit, in ways that you might feel in the past were frivolous, but actually are kind of necessary to you. So that's opening up. And overall, I think your financial future is improving. So there will just be that bank account is going to grow, um, and maybe in some ways, and in some ways like through some means that aren't really apparent to you yet. So, if you're sitting here today and you're like, well, how would that happen? Right? I can't imagine how that would happen. You don't need to. You don't really need to know exactly how your wealth is going to increase. Um, it will come to you. So, yeah, there's that perspective of abundance. So, I hope that gives you some guidance, Sky Brights. And thank you for showing up tonight. we will move on to Brahman. Another love reading. Is any love coming your way this year? It's been a tough year. Well, I feel you there, my friend. In my life, before I met Candy, I definitely went through some dry spells in my life. And feeling like saying exactly what you're saying, it was a tough year. So, I've been there, my friend. Alrighty. We're getting down to the final stretch here. Okay, bro, man, there's that two of swords. But I swear I shuffled. You saw it. The Queen of Wands. Ooh. And there's that Hermit again. Oh my. Well. So I do see some new romance entering your life, my friend. I think part of what's blocking you, it's not anything that you're really doing specifically. It's just sort of this energetic sort of, it's sort of your energy and your mentality. So in the past, I think in the past, there's been times where you've settled. There's been a sense of like, well, I can meet someone who has some of these qualities that I really want, but they're not going to have all of them, right? So I can meet someone who, I don't know, let's just say, I don't know exactly what it is in your case, but it's like I feel like I keep meeting people and either like maybe they've got their life together, they've got a good job and that kind of thing. But I just don't like, I don't know, they're just kind of boring, or the people that really excite me end up always just being a mess, or something like that. And the idea that you're always having to settle, you can't find that person that really has all the things that you want and deserve in life. And so this person coming to you is very much like they're a queen. They're out there. There is someone out there who embodies all of these things that you want and desire in a person. And I think they're coming to you and probably pretty soon. So there's this relationship that's coming to you is one that's going to have some great potential to really be possibly a lasting one. I mean, it will certainly last for some chunk of time. It won't be like a day or a week. I don't know if they're the person you'll spend your entire life with, but it'll be someone who is kind of passionate and fiery, and yet they've got it together. They keep that in balance, and they're a very sort of active person. Maybe not necessarily athletic, but someone who likes to actually go do things and not just always be sitting around at home. So that's really cool. And I think that's kind of where you're headed. And then this relationship is really cool because it's going to be, I think it'll be a good one. But it's also going to be a one where like the two of you are great. Like, I think you'll be good partners for each other, but also like you're the kind of people, where you will be able to exist outside of each other as well. So you're not like smothering each other, like you're together and there's a bond there. But part of that bond is recognizing each other's individual like greatness, and seeing that and valuing it and understanding that some part of you still has to stand alone, not out of loneliness, but like just to be able to continue to grow. Because even a really good relationship can kind of be confining sometimes, if you're not both on the same page. So I think there's going to be a really great person entering your love life fairly soon, bro, man. So just let it happen. Like, don't go searching for it; it will come to you. You know, don't go crazy on I don't know, Tinder or whatever people use these days. I wouldn't know. So yeah, it's coming. So just let it come. Thanks for showing up tonight, bro, man. And we're on to Ruby Camellia. And Ruby Camellia asks, Amir asks about Amir. More love readings. Love it. Love the love readings. Amir's feelings and thoughts to me. He left from a while, and what is I message him? Okay. Well, let's see what are Amir's thoughts and feelings. Oh, and we've got Charger fan with his martial arts question. I love it. It's been a joy to have all you here regularly and follow all of your journeys in all these things. So thank you all again. I can't thank all of you enough. But first things first, what are Amir's feelings and thoughts to you, Ruby? Ooh, the sun. We haven't seen the sun yet. All right. I mean, you get the cards you're meant to get, but it's kind of nice to see some different ones. The Princess of Swords is not here right now. She's on break. So, I think Amir has some pretty. I think Amir has some feelings for you, some fairly strong feelings, but they're a bit conflicted at times. And he's gonna kind of getting hung up on some of these things. So I think deep down inside, Amir absolutely kind of sees your best self, your truest self. That's the sun. That's the core of who you are, shining through all the masks that we wear, shining through this physical world and that kind of thing. And so he sees that in you, and that attracts him to you. But he's hung up on some sort of more material things, and these things aren't necessarily actually qualities of you. They have a lot more to do with his own hangups in life, but he's projecting them onto you a bit. So there's some things that he's telling himself, that you are certain ways, or he sees certain qualities in you, or something, or just little quirks or something, and he's like, oh, I don't know. But that's not anything you're doing wrong, and those quirks aren't anything you should feel bad about. They're absolutely a wonderful part of you, and that's really Amir's problem and Amir's hangups, that he is seeing these things this way, and so that's why I think I get the sense that he's kind of holding, why he's sort of holding back and sort of detached. The problem is I don't know that he's going to come around, and that's the real tricky thing. It's really hard, and I know it's not the nicest thing to hear. Um, you know that he does have an attraction to you, but like these hangups are deep, and the Seven of Swords here just seems very problematic to me. Like he has yet to sort of see through those things, and it's going to be a long time before he does. So I don't know that he's going to come around and really sort of be a part of your life again real soon. Years and years from now, many years from now, maybe he will. Maybe once he gets past these blocks, but he's got these entanglements, and he's got to work through them. And you really don't want to be involved with him while he is sort of struggling with these things. He's just not in a place where he's going to be a good partner to you or anyone until he sorts that out. So, this might not be the happiest thing to hear, but like I think the best thing for you, what Spirit is saying is like it really is maybe time to move on from Amir, because I sense there are better people out there for you, and people, the love that you really deserve is out there, and I don't know that that's Amir right now. So, hope that gives you some insight, Ruby, and I hope you didn't take that too harshly, because it's not. It really isn't anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. You are a wonderful person. It's just he has his hangups, like we all do. Okay, let's get some good shuffles, because Charger fan wants to know about his first year of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm curious, Charger fan, did you decide with the gi? Are we training with gi or without gi? Or maybe you haven't. That's not been decided yet. I know we were talking about that the other day. Okay, how difficult will... Well, here we go. We got Ace of Swords, so there's your first card. And we've got the Three of Swords. And the Prince of Wands. Oh, how exciting. So, I mean, it's going to be challenging. I mean, I don't, just based on pure logic, there will be challenges to this. But in the beginning, like, you're going to get a lot of new information. So, it's going to be really exciting. The whole process. I mean, you're really gonna like. It's going to be awesome. Fundamentally, it will be challenging, but it's going to be challenging in a way that feels good. For one, you're just going to really get wrapped up in like learning these new, this new martial art, and all the techniques and moves and stuff. Um, the Three of Swords here is that piece of like, the heartache of it, the challenge of it. There will be days where it is tough. There will be days where you're going to be like, man, I'm sore and like maybe this wasn't worth it, or what am I doing, or I'm in over my head. But here's that Prince again. It's going to propel you. Even the challenging days, I mean, yeah, you're going to have moments of like, man, what am I doing? But you're always going to wake up the next day and be like, man, that was great. This feels really good. The challenge, I'm excited for the challenge. It won't be easy, but it will be awesome. And you'll be so glad that you did it. And I also sense from here, and this is more just my own, like, this is more just purely an intuitive thing. It's not really in these cards. But I sense that a lot of what is going to help propel you into this is the people. And this is also just from other people I know who train in martial arts. You're going to find a really good dojo, a really good place to train with a really good crew. And when you have that, I mean, they help you so much to get through it, and they want to help you learn and get better at it. It really, any good martial arts dojo, if it has a good instructors, good masters, it's a family, and you're going to find that. And that's a lot of what's going to carry you through this as well. So you have a lot of great blessings. The challenge will be there. It will be hard some days, but you're always going to feel like, the drive to keep going is there. You're going to keep feeling pulled into it. And eventually you get to a place where the challenge is exciting. You'll be like, man, they kicked my butt today. That was cool. Like I really learned something. So I wish you the best of luck with that. And it's going to be a lot of fun for us to hear from you as this progresses. So thanks for showing up tonight, Charger fan. We really appreciate it. Next up, we have Mirlieb, and Mirlieb as a general reading. We're getting down to the last three. Love it. And this is the time of the night where we just sort of give up on updating the list because you know who you are at this point. So. Let's see here. Okay, Mirlieb. What do we got here? There's the Two of Pentacles. We did see that once or twice. Queen of Jars. Ooh. Oh, and the Four of Swords. Oh, quite lovely. Four of Swords is a fun one. So there's been this past sense of having to like juggle things. I know it's so literal from the card, but a lot of juggling of like finances and material things in your life, maybe even juggling like multiple jobs. And there's a certain sense, and you've done very well doing that. You've gotten good at it, but there is a sense of like, instability with that. Everything's always up in the air, and you're always wondering, am I going to drop one of these things? And what will happen when I do? And so that's coming to an end. You're moving out of that. You're maturing out of that. You're evolving into a greater sense of stability. There's still a bunch of things that you're going to be essentially working with and moving around and doing. In a way, you will still be juggling, but the emotional stability piece is going to come into play. So as you mature and you get better with this, you're going to be more confident and be like, no, I can have all these things in the air and it's fine. I am safe and stable and I can make good choices. And even if I do drop something, I will be okay. I'm taken care of. I have the ability to navigate that and turn that into something that is actually a positive for myself. And even more importantly, not get down on myself if I drop one of these things, if things get a little haywire. And that's a lot of that queen energy, and sort of self-love, and nurturing yourself, nurturing your inner child, forgiving yourself for your mistakes is what's going to allow you to move towards greater stability in your life. And the even greater outcome of that is more opportunity to sort of pull back, to take a little more rest for yourself, a little more time for your own self-care. It may seem counterproductive and it may be hard to do because, again, this feeling of I have to keep juggling everything or it's going to fall apart. But as you get past that, you're going to feel more safe in taking time off or taking time for yourself. It's very hard for a lot of us. I just took a few days off from this business around my birthday and it was wonderful and I needed it. But even at this point in my life, with all the progress I've made, I still came back to work and I'm like, oh man, I'm falling behind. Like I shot myself in the foot. I needed that time, but like, man, it made things worse. And I had to get right with that last week. It was really starting to weigh on me. And a lot of help from my wonderful wife, Candy, sort of helped me navigate that, but also from pulling tarot cards for myself. So you're going to move into a place where you can give yourself more self-care that you need and not kind of get down on yourself or worry that you're like being lazy or not doing enough. And that's the maturation of your life right now. So always a positive thing in life. Okay, getting down to the nitty gritty. Phoenix Oracle Healing. ER's current thoughts and feelings for me. Okay. Hopefully you're still here. If you do miss it, though, as you know, these all get put up for replay on the YouTube channel, so you can go in and rewatch it if you want to hear your reading again, or if you missed something, pop on in. And also, feel free to check out all the other wonderful content I have on there. Not just like past readings, but I do sort of long form videos covering all kinds of topics around personal transformation and tarot as well. And we're going to start adding some tarot, like learning tarot content on there to go along with the classes too. All right, Phoenix, good. I'm glad you're still here. I'm getting a little tired, so I'm feeling a little less present myself. But you all of you and your support really help fuel me, keep me going. So we always appreciate it. I think that's your card. I think that's a card for you. I think these cards are all over the place. So let's do it this way, and then we'll flip them over. Okay. Right. ER's current thoughts. So we got the Melissae, which is the High Priestess. Guessing that's more of a Celtic term. But I'm not sure. I got to look it up. I got to learn more of the Celtic traditions just for my own knowledge. So the High Priestess, and then we have the honeymoon, the lovers, the actual lovers. How interesting for your question. And then the Two of Jars. So this is really interesting. ER is certainly attracted to you, has some very strong feelings towards you. Sorry. And one of the most profound and sort of like interesting bits of that feelings is like there's like some deeper qualities to you when this person looks at you. Um, Something almost mysterious about you, but not like in a manipulative or deceptive way, but like an exciting way. There's like a depth to your personality and your soul. And they're probably things that you might not even be aware of fully. The high priestess or the Melissae here is about like inner knowledge, that looking, that turning inward, that shadow self, and the moon, that lunar energy. So that's really interesting. And a lot of that is what is alluring to ER and what is attracting ER to you. And very much so, ER wants to be in a relationship with you. I mean, the honeymoon here is very much that. It is just purely a sense of like desire to be with you. So that's there. And then Two of Jars just sort of underscores that, I think. It says to me that ER also thinks like, so there's like this deep attraction and this sort of mysterious quality, but also a feeling of like, the more surface level stuff is also like in alignment. That you have a lot in common, that you could be good friends. That even if, say, you rejected this person, that there is a potential for friendship there. So it's like you're lined up in all these different ways to be together, at least in their opinion of you. This is how they're feeling about you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that all of those things are aligned or true. There's not enough detail here in just 3 cards to tell you that. But something you could get more into with a more in-depth reading if you wanted. Or just, your own contemplation on this might get you somewhere as well. If you read cards for yourself, a great thing to ask the cards yourself. And I can teach you to do that in one of our classes if you want some time. So there's a lot of ways you can go with this. But ER's got some really profound feelings for you and really feels like you are a match for each other. So do with that what you will. And I hope it brings you great joy and love in your life. Okay, last reading of the night. Elite Haxors. What kind of love relationship will be my next one? I'm ready for love. Okay. And the universe hears that. Absolutely. So, last reading of the night. Wonderful to finish it up with a romance reading. Thank you all, everyone, for sticking around tonight. It was a long one. But we got a lot of readings in. Next week, I will pull like the group reading as well again. But it just would have taken way too long tonight. And I start to run out of steam by about 10:30. You're welcome, Phoenix. Thank you for showing up. And also, don't hesitate to tell all your friends. That's another great way to help support the channel, is to get new people in here. So, all right, Lee. Okay, you're ready, and we are ready, and the universe is ready. So, here we go. Here we go. Princess of Jars. Ooh. Some very youthful and open and receptive feelings. So you are open and ready for love, and you really are. This isn't just like I'm lonely, kind of thing, like surface level. You really are open and ready for love. So that's what I get right there out of the Princess of Jars. Six of Wands is telling me that it's out there. That love is out there. I think you're in a place, often common advice that we end up getting, because people are often like searching too hard to find love, and then they end up in bad relationships because they're like too desperate. It happens a lot to us human beings, but I think in your case, it's a little bit of the opposite. Like, you're in a place where you really are ready and should start maybe seeking and actually putting yourself out there and searching a bit. Be discerning, obviously. Don't get desperate, but I think you're the type of person where you are in your life right now you do need to maybe put yourself out there a little more. Or if you have been, maybe put yourself out there in slightly different ways or different places. If it seems like you are sort of out and about a lot. And do that, because love is coming. I don't see a lot in here about who that exactly is. We have the wheel, and so the wheel is this card of like fortune and karma. And I think you have some great fortune and karma coming to you. So I can't really tell you much about who this person is or what their qualities are, but love is coming. You just got to make yourself more available and get out there and socialize and interact with people in places where, you know, you're likely to find someone with some common interest, and that'll lead you there. And then just follow your heart, because the universe sees that you're ready for love, and the universe is ready to provide. So that concludes all of our wonderful readings and with this wonderful new tarot deck. And I will continue to have this available and use it for readings next week and as we go along. I really love it. Really, like, it's great. Like, a lot of times I get a deck and I have to kind of work with it and play with it a bit before I really start to get comfortable with it. So thank you everyone tonight for showing up. I think everyone's out of the chat at this point and I'm just rambling on, but if you're still here, thank you so much. I love all of you, and I will see you